What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Arnold Teliga Arda.
And I'm Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser. And this is a milestone for us. I'm a nervous wreck. I haven't slept all night because this is episode 52. Our next guest, without a doubt, and I've shared the locker room with him, is one of the most successful YouTube individuals in the planet. When it comes to wrestling, he made a name on his own. He didn't need the help of Vince McMahon. You know, he made a name on his own, and I just want to bring on none other than the Long Island loudmouth himself, Zack Ryder. Matt Cardona, thank you for joining us on Pro and Bro Wrestling. I always say don't die with the story, and you tell it.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's confusing. We were talking earlier. Is it Matt or Zach? Even my dad doesn't know what to call me. I was going by Zach for so many years, and then just to be Matt one day.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, which I was using Matt as. So I was used to using my own name because if I got released and didn't have the podcast, I'd probably be like the Ice Z-Man or something on the Indies now. But luckily, I'm comfortable with my own name.
You might have had to bring it back to Brett Matthews, man. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows that. That's the thing. I mean, that was my backyard name, my indie name. But, I mean, when I say I did indies, I did it for a couple years in the Northeast, never made a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knew. So if I did that name, it would just add even more confusion.
You know what's funny? We met at Bakersfield when Fred took me to Raw, and I met you for the first time backstage. And as soon as we crossed paths and like you left, I was like, damn, I forgot to tell him that I'm a major mark. Because I listen to your podcast religiously, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I would,
You got some figures back there. I can see the figures back there.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, man. I'm 33 right now, and I've been collecting since I was 7, all the way up to 24. And I always tell Fred this. You're actually one of my favorite wrestlers up there with Shawn Michaels and The Rock because
Look at that. Shawn Michaels, HBK, and Zack Ryder. Woo, that's a Mount Rushmore right there.
The reason why I say that is because I feel like you're just I can relate to you because I feel like you're a buffer version and more self-accomplished version of me because, 33, sure. I feel like we grew up liking the same things, man, like Ninja Turtles, wrestling figures. I guess the only switch that I would have to do was switch Star Wars with Power Rangers, and we'll be twins.
I was a Power Ranger fan also, but yeah, definitely Star Wars over Power Rangers for me. I'm sure just like you, a big kid who never really grew up, got a little bigger, but still a big kid at heart,
Absolutely, man. And the podcast, congrats on that, by the way. It's been, 2 years now?
No, actually, it's almost been 2 years. So we started it in August of 2018, so almost 2 years.
Wow.
Just kind of a little passion project of Kurt Hawkins or Brian Myers and I. We love wrestling figures, wrestling collectibles, and we'll BS about it all day long, text each other, call each other. When we were on the road together, looking for figures on the road. So I'd been pitching it for a while. Hey, let's start this podcast about wrestling figures. He wasn't really I call him bare minimum. Brian doesn't like to do the extra work. But I convinced him, hey, you just do the recording part. At the time, I said, it's going to be 45 minutes. It turns out that our episode is like 3 hours now, right. And it spawned into this whole thing. But he shows up for the recording, and then me and the producer do everything else. But now since we've been released, now we call him maximum effort Brian.
That's right.
Because now he has time to do things. He's like, ooh, we should do this, we should do that. I'm like, bro, we've been saying this for 2 years.
Zach, we've had Heath Slater on, we've had Deonna Purrazzo, and the first thing I always say is, if you think we're going to talk about the release, you might as well just stop watching Pro and Bro Wrestling. Right. I want to be able to, yeah, exactly, bro. I want people to be able to see the relationship between you and I, even before WWE, when we were chasing a dream. I don't know if you remember that one time MSG, right? When I do
remember. Actually, I was thinking about it today when I was thinking about, how long we've known each other. For me, that was my first and only time doing extra work, and you were like the king. Like you've been a security guard, right? You've done it all, right? Like all those jobs you've done. So, and no pun intended, I know you did a lot of jobs, but I'm saying like you were like, where are you like everything you could be, security guard, whatever. But that was the one time that Brian and I were extra talent, and it was Madison Square Garden. We had no idea, right? So I didn't even have a roller bag. You know, like everyone has the roller bag now. I had like a big Nike duffel bag, and I'm walking in through MSG. I'm shaking everybody's hand, like the guys who work at MSG, like custodians. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be respectful. And I'll never forget, like, seeing the sign in the locker room that said male talent. I just assumed that's where we go. You know, so we put our bags down. We're seeing like JBL, like Hardcore Holly's in there giving us the death stare. And then it was Morrison or Johnny Nitro. He pulls me aside. He's like, hey, there's a locker room for guys like you over there.
Yes.
And then I remember meeting you there. I remember you were super cool in catering. And then like I was so happy like years later, like I kind of, I'm like, okay, Fred, and I would, follow you and your career, stuff like that. And then you would do like the NYWC stuff where I was, and then eventually got signed, Nexus, all that stuff. So I was super pumped. You
had so many monumental wins over your career, especially with all the championships in the back. And I know you always talk about your WrestleMania match when you won the Intercontinental Championship. And the one thing that you always say is how pissed you were when your dad put the cowboy hat on you.
That's right, 100%.
But now looking back at it, right? Do you kind of like enjoy that moment because now it's this like funny thing that happened?
Oh, of course, yeah. I was never angry. It's like, if you know my dad, first of all, he jumps the guardrail and slides in the ring at WrestleMania. Like, this is not part of the show. Yeah. And then he's wearing, I think we're in Dallas. He's that WrestleMania Dallas cowboy hat, just putting it on my head. Like, come on. Like, it was just like, a kid just like, come on, Dad. I just took the hat off. Like, he didn't like ruin anything. And it's, we're still talking about it all these years later. So it was funny. He still has, he's him and my mom, super proud, super supportive. They have a cardboard cutout of me in their living room, which is, I think, a little weird. But they have that cowboy hat on the cardboard cutout. So, like, if you don't know what's going on, you walk into this person's house, you see this cardboard cutout, some guy in underwear wearing this cowboy hat. It's kind of weird. Like, out of context, kind of weird.
I really enjoyed your last run in WWE because I felt like it was such a poetic ending to that chapter of your story for now, because you started your career in WWE with Brian Myers, as the Major Brothers, and you had a successful solo career. So whose idea was it to put you guys back together again one last time? Not one last time, but one more time.
Well, I think what happened was I really believe it was because of the podcast, and then people within WWE were like, oh man, like, they were a team. Like, we should do something here. And at the time, Brian was in the middle of this like reverse Goldberg losing streak. And like, I was there, still here, all that BS, but I wasn't really doing anything on TV. So it was a good combination. Okay, get me back on, be the guy to save him, and to, actually win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. I say my hometown. It was New Jersey, not my hometown. It's not my hometown. I hate when they say WrestleMania from New York. It's New Jersey. It's New Jersey. But it was still cool. I'll pretend it was New York. Nothing against New Jersey, except New York's better. Sorry, Fred. But super cool moment. And it was, you talk about that WrestleMania moment with my dad. Like, that was my night. And yes, I did win a tag team title at the WrestleMania, the kickoff, whatever you want to call it. But to me, it was Brian's night. And I knew that going in, and I remember, I'll never forget, like, being laid out. Like, obviously, I know, guys, wrestling, it's, it's predetermined sometimes. Right. except when I win. Except when I win, it's real. But I knew what was about to happen. I knew that he was about to get the 1, 2, 3, and I knew it was like he was getting his ass kicked, and he was playing possum. And just to hear the people wanting him to win, I was just laying out like, this is gonna be great. Like, they're gonna go nuts. And then 1, 2, 3, and the place did go nuts. So that night, yes, I did walk away with the tag team title, but I was a spectator. I had better than a front row seat. I was on the floor, as close as you get to the ring. So super cool moment for me to experience the moment for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could definitely hear the fans chanting towards the end of the match, "Let's go Hawkins." Yeah. It was a really good moment, and I just love the roll up. Everything about that was so beautiful, man. It was really great.
Yeah, it was a super cool night because, we were a team. It took like almost 10 years as a team, a 10-year break as a team.
That's right.
So to come back together was super cool.
And I remember you mentioned like, it was only a few tag teams that did that. And it was you. Who else was it?
So it was us. You might have heard of them, the Hardy Boys,
Here and
New
there.
Age Outlaws,
Sure.
and then Morrison and Miz have done it since. So
Right.
all great teams, and
Yeah.
Hawkins and Ryder.
Ryder, you're a 15-year veteran. I hate using the word former because former sounds washed up. You're a
Right.
15-year veteran, and we both have had some crazy experiences in wrestling. Now, what are your thoughts on teaming with Titus on NXT? You know, that experience, Mojo Rawley. We all know how these guys are. They're just over the top and everything. Right. What were some of those experiences like for you?
I think just like you, Fred, I'm sure you feel the same way. Whatever, we don't write the show, right? So whatever opportunity we're given, you can complain about all you want, but nothing's going to change. I mean, for guys like us, we gotta work our ass off and make whatever we get given. If we have an opportunity, holy shit, we gotta make it work. At least try our best. So I was doing that in both situations. So I remember NXT, I was mad because I'm like, oh my God, now I have another day on the road? Because at the time, it was a brand split, and I was on Raw. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then now I had to go Tuesday for NXT. It was like 5 days on the road. But then I knew nothing about Titus, and the week before, they handed all the quote-unquote pros like a little like bio sheet of their rookies, right? And I'll never forget, it's Titus O'Neil, whatever, all this stuff about his football career. And then the last thing says, barks like a dog. I'm like, all right, so I got the guy who barks like a dog. But we bonded right away. Obviously, you know Titus. Everyone else knows Titus, how great of a human being he is. And even back then, he was the same way, And back then, like, he didn't have, like, he wasn't a WWE global superstar back then, but he was still always trying, always doing stuff for the community and the less fortunate. So I always loved him and respected him for that, and a hard worker as well. And then another hard worker was Mojo, and that was another situation where, listen, it wasn't my idea to go to NXT and be with Mojo Rawley, certainly not. Right. But when that was presented to me, I'm like, well, all right, this is it. This is Triple H has this idea. I'm going to make it work. Or I'm going to try my best. And in wrestling, some things just don't work. And the Hype Bros, it was just one of those things. I tried, Mojo tried, it just didn't. It just didn't work because I do think that he's so over the top, right? The hype part, that's no joke. That's no gimmick. That's him. I think maybe it's turned down. You hear in wrestling that people's gimmicks are the volume turned up. His is like turned down. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Fred? Yeah. He's turned down. So we tried doing a little like yin and yang kind of thing. Like I was a little more serious and he was a party animal. And I do think it could have worked. It just, situations, sometimes are out of your control. In NXT, at least from what I believe, I was brought there to get him ready real quick and get on the main roster. But what happened was that didn't happen. So we were just in NXT for about a year, not really doing anything because they didn't want to invest in us if we were moving right up. And at the same time, I was still doing stuff in WWE. I won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania the day before. I'm at Access Team with Mojo. You know what I'm saying? I'm still doing both. So when they finally did bring Mojo up, we weren't like this hot NXT act. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, well, why does Zack Ryder have this guy now? It didn't really work. And then I got injured a couple months later. It was just a disaster. So great guy, tries hard. I have nothing bad to say about Mojo. So he's just really, really loud and annoying sometimes. But he knows that I love him, so it's all good.
Before you got injured for the number one contendership for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, were you guys supposed to win the tag titles? Do you know by any chance?
I honestly have no idea. Obviously, we were supposed to win that match, right? Because I ended up winning. It was just a freak thing. It was me, Tyler Breeze, and Connor from Ascension were the last three in the ring.
Yeah. Something
happens where I think maybe I get rid of Breeze, and then I go up for the Rough Rider on Connor. And when I jumped up, my patella tendon just ruptured. My kneecap essentially ripped off. And, like, it happened so fast. And, like, I thought, like, Breeze, like, slid back in the ring and, like, chop blocked me or something. Like, what just happened? It was, like, this crazy feeling.
Yeah.
And luckily, the finish of the match was that I would jump up for the Rough Rider, this jumping leg drop. Big Connor would catch me like a powerbomb and go to powerbomb me out, but I'd hook the top rope and Frankensteiner him over the top to win.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know that I'm hurt because as I jump up, that's when it tears. He catches me. He just goes for the finish. And luckily, I'm able to hang on. But I knew I was I knew something was wrong right away. And Mojo, of course, has no idea. So he's running down as crazy as possible, celebrating, hyping me up, like, get off of me.
Right.
And yeah, it turned out that I had ruptured my patella tendon. Just, Fred, just sometimes things happen.
You were hurt. I had actually just hurt my elbow. I had the Tommy John surgery. That's very uncommon in wrestling. I had it done. So I remember a time we were doing probably a reading challenge for the community service part of WWE. So you were hurt. I was hurt.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it is what it is. But recently I read something about you being intimidating to walk into Vince's office. And I couldn't believe it, bro, because the most intimidating thing about Vince McMahon is his office door. Once you get through it, it's, you got to have a game plan. And Titus, we talked about him earlier, he would just barge right in. And I would be like, hold on, Titus, let's have a game plan.
Right.
But for me to hear that you were nervous, I couldn't believe it because all your success, bro, there's nobody on the roster that has gained tremendous amount of success like you, man. Last week we had Chris Van Vliet and I was sitting under the learning tree. This week I'm sitting under the learning tree with you, bro.
Thanks, man.
I want to know how you did it, and like that experience with Vince McMahon. Why?
Well, when we started, I think Hawkins and I were like the first of like our generation to really get to the main roster, because when we got to the main roster, I think I was still 22. So like the guy, it was just different era back then, and I'm not saying it was better or worse, but it's like the locker room was JBL, Hardcore Holly, Undertaker, Benoit, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I was just so like walking on eggshells. And like when you were in developmental, you were in developmental, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like NXT, they have TV shows, wrestling figures. It wasn't like that. You're a piece of crap in developmental, and like if you get this spot, like you better not mess it up. And it was like totally different back then. Like you make one mistake, you're out the door. Even when we first got called up, we're on the main roster, changing in the extra talent locker room. We had to like ask permission after a couple of months to get in there. So it's just a different environment. I think that like kind of stuck with me for like, just like I was kind of like, I'm going to curse right now, excuse my French, mind fucked for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So, when certain things were going down, I was definitely like intimidated, because to me, it's like Vince McMahon, the guy I grew up watching. I think he's like the heel, in Austin, So I was still, but over time, I've said this before. I grew up not only as a wrestler and a performer there in WWE, but as a man. So by the end, I had no problem, going to Vince's door. Was I still nervous? Yes, but like I would still go in.
Right.
I would still knock on the door, as opposed to like, when I first started, I was like scared to death.
Sure.
Likewise, bro.
Right.
And I can't blame you for feeling that way, because like you mentioned before, it was a different time back then. I remember hearing a story from your past interviews talking about you and Brian getting in trouble for looking at your phones while Triple H was having a match, right? And the Undertaker got mad.
He made
you
apologize. So I mean, but to backtrack for a second, every time I did speak to Vince, like D Young said, totally approachable, totally cool, right? It's just getting through that door. You know what I'm saying? Then like he'd always listen to the ideas, always, whether he agreed with it or not. He always treated me with respect and listened.
Yeah.
But then as for that story we just told on the podcast, we were on our cell phones and got in trouble. Now it's encouraged to be on your cell phones. Now you got to tweet. It's a different era. It's just hey, I'm not saying one's better than the other. Times change. Back in my day, no, I'm not saying that. It's just a different era. But yes, it is true that we got in trouble for being on our cell phones, not talking, just like looking at it. I was probably fighting with my ex-girlfriend at the time or something. But yeah, it's just stupid stuff like that.
I mean, Ryder, you talk about back in the day. We got to talk about back in the day, because when I was trying out my last tryout with WWE, I paid either $1,000 or $2,000 of my own money to try out in Tampa, Florida. And luckily, Dr. Tom Pritchard helped me out. And out of 75 guys and girls from all over the world, I beat them all out in the tryout. So things are a lot different, bro. So we have the right to say, back in our day, because it's not like that anymore. People get invited down to Orlando, they get put up and all that stuff. It wasn't like that with me.
Right. And I mean, like, I remember Deep South Wrestling,
Yes.
now the Performance Center, it has like, it's state of the art, has all these rings. Like they're literally filming Raw and SmackDown. They filmed WrestleMania at the Performance Center. They could not have filmed WrestleMania at the Deep South Wrestling Arena. It's in this strip mall. There's like a nail salon, there's like, this food place, and it's Deep South Wrestling. You know what I'm saying? And that's all it was, with some black curtains so you couldn't see inside. One ring. We did do some shows in there every week, but it was a different time. There was probably like 25, maybe 30 people, maybe less than 5 girls under contract to Deep South. Just totally different. And it's, trust me, it's way better off now that when these guys or girls get called up, they're stars already. People know who they are. You know what I'm saying? People know if their music plays, people know, oh my God, that's Matt Riddle from NXT. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You can go to Walmart and buy the figures of these people. They're in video games. They have the trading cards. When we were in developmental, we were like a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which, and listen, I'm not complaining. I love that time. I love being a piece of shit, because Deep South Wrestling, it was like my college, So like, yes, you hear all these horror stories about Deep South, and most of them are true, but I loved it. It was great. It was like, practice was hard. Did I have like nightmares about going to practice? Yes. Did I love like having a horrible day at practice, but then like getting lunch with all the boys? I love that. I love that we all had this tight-knit group, a family. We tortured each other at practice, but then we went out, we partied, hung out, did everything together. So it was just a family down there. And to me, it was the first time away from home. I went to community college and wrestling school. So to be in McDonough, Georgia, on my own, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, man. And with everything that's going on in the world right now, everyone's on lockdown and quarantine. And I know you haven't been in the ring for a while, but I saw recently that you went to Flatback Wrestling to dust off the little ring rust.
Yeah.
How did that feel, man?
Yeah, so I went to Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears. They have a wrestling school like a half hour from where I live. So I went with Chelsea, my fiance. We just wrestled around a bit. It felt great, to be honest. I miss being in there. We had a little match, and she said I was a little stiff on her. But, she was complaining. I'm like, babe, come on. I didn't even give you the real broski boot, babe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I pulled back a little bit. But it was fun, It was fun to be. Listen, I love being in that ring, and I think I posted something how blown up I was. And D Young said something like, "Oh, it's not like that, baby."
Yeah, no, I mean, on the independents, man, we take it easy, man. We work hard, but like, it's like with WWE, everything is a sprint.
Right.
Like 7-minute matches, even though they're shorter, they're more tiring for me.
Oh, the worst.
When we do the independents now, working 15, 20 minutes, I visualize myself as the Black Randy Orton. Every punch, every kick is very methodical. Everything he does has purpose, and like he has intent with every move he does. And that's how I move in the ring. That's how I envision myself. And I've had some of my best matches, one being Sean Spears recently before the pandemic. And for me, like, the greatest compliment from a colleague is when they come back from the curtain, Sean Spears saying, "Man, I needed that." That meant the world to me. You know what I mean? Saying that we took our time, but everything meant something. He's one of the top guys, like when it comes to wrestling and all that stuff. So being able to hear that from my own peer meant the world to me. Seeing all of your success since day one means the world to me, man, because like you put in the work. You didn't need anyone else. What motivates you? What motivated you to just keep going with all of your success outside of the ring?
I've said this before also in different interviews, like proving like haters or doubters wrong. Like that's cool. Okay, sure. But I want to prove the supporters right. Everyone who like supported me, whether it be through the YouTube show or the Edgeheads or before that, or, whether they just start listening to the Wrestling Fear podcast, I want to prove those people right. Like you're going to prove doubters wrong along the way. That's not my my purpose. My purpose is to prove everybody right and prove myself right. Like I know like what my goals are, what my dreams are, and like you're gonna have to kill me to stop me from trying. I might not get there, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best.
You know, you're still so young in the prime of your career, and I think you have a great first chapter in your wrestling career with the WWE. How excited are you for your second chapter right now, man?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I'm 35. I've been there for so long, WWE for so long, and it was great. I'm so fortunate for all the things. You know, listen, I never had a real job. I worked at Gold's Gym I was a trainer with no clients. I worked at a pizza place. I worked at a deli, and I worked for WWE. So I've had a great life. I've had a great, I'm very fortunate for everything there. But it was time to move on, and obviously WWE thought so too. They got rid of me.
No, don't say
But
that. Don't say that.
no, but I'm very excited about what's next. It just whether it be wrestling new people or having the creative freedom. Oh, I got this T-shirt design. I can put on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yeah.
Just to pretty much do whatever I want. Like I can do this interview without having to ask permission. You know what I'm saying? I could just be me.
Yeah.
So it's the freedom is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think everyone wants your first match to be your first match back to be the tuxedo match against you and Rory Fox.
I've been pitching that for a while. This guy, Rory Fox, like 10 years ago, I ripped off his trunks, not on purpose, on television. And we've had some beef for a while. And I've been saying like, oh, like everyone's been asking like, what's your dream match for when you can wrestle? Like, I want Rory Fox in a tuxedo match. First person to strip, the other person wins. That's what I want.
I love it, man. Have you thought of
the story's there? The story's there.
Absolutely, there's history there, man.
Yeah.
Have you thought of new names for your moves yet?
You know what? Like, as like kind of a joke, I would rename almost like every. First of all, I don't think like the commentators ever called them these things, but like when I'd call it in the back with the boys, like there was like, of course, the Broski Boot, then there's the Broski Buster, then there's the Wood Awakening, the Elbow. It just got so ridiculous, and the more people would bust my balls about it, the more I would add. You know what I'm saying? Like the Frankenrider, like all these things. So I do have to change some of those names after this. I thought about it, but nothing's set in stone.
Zach, I've always said to Arnold that, you don't want to get into a shouting match with Zach or like a Twitter war with him.
Oh, no.
He will cut you up with his words. He will like, he will make you feel 2 feet tall, man. You have a way with your words, your creativity. It's disgustingly so good, bro.
I remember a couple years ago, me and Adam Rose, there was like an idea that maybe we would start some like social media war and it would lead to something on television.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like this was like, you know how it is. Sometimes you're talking to a writer and like they have no say and it's like busy work for them. They'll talk to you, they'll email you back and forth, but it's not going anywhere, right? So this one writer was telling me this idea for me and Adam Rose, probably just trying to shut us up because we've pitching all these ideas. So like I've been around at that time for a couple years. I knew the game. You know what I'm saying? Okay, whatever. But Adam Rose took it to heart and just started this Twitter war. Just started it. Like we didn't get like the okay. We didn't get like, all right, this will lead to Raw. So it leads to nothing. Spoiler alert. It leads to nothing. But he just kept going. And listen, it was all in good fun, right? And like he would like go to my friend, like Hornswoggle would like feed him like private information or private pictures. And I was like, oh, and like it made me so mad, but look in a funny way. It was like just like two buddies like zinging each other, but with the whole world watching. So it was a good fun. There was no malicious intent whatsoever. Sure. And we thought it was good. Well, he thought it was going to lead to a match. I after a while, I hoped it would, but I kind of knew this isn't going anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I know after, your time with WWE, I know you want to continue your solo career with other companies, but have you thought about possibly being back as a tag team with Myers for one night against a certain tag team, maybe like the head?
Yeah, so we discussed this. Like, I think we both had this idea. It was like an unspoken agreement, and then eventually we did speak about it. Once we got released, like that was it. The team was done. Like I knew that, he knew that, and then we talked to him. Oh yeah, we know that. But I would love to work like Rock and Roll Express or like the headbangers. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be something like that. Like if Mean Street Posse comes out of retirement, sign me up. But yeah, we don't want to. You know, we're done with the tag team stuff. Never say never, but it has to be like. It has to be almost like a quote unquote dream match. Probably not for the fans, but for us. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have wrestled the Godwins or something. You know.
Hey, let me tell you about the Headbangers. I've been on a show with them, and I didn't even think they knew who I was, but I forget which one. Maybe the one that was in better shape. I forget his name, but he talked my ear off, man. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, a lot of these veterans, man. I love them to death, but I'm a quiet guy, man.
Sure.
So like when I'm to myself, I'm no disrespect, but man, these guys will talk your ear off, man.
Oh, I remember a couple years ago, they came back to SmackDown for a couple of weeks, and they worked Heath. I think maybe I was involved in the match as well, and they like beat the shit out of Heath. Not on purpose, but like Heath was all bloody and stuff like that, and Heath was like, "What's going on here?"
Speaking of Heath, he always says, you always bust his balls about, oh, when are we gonna have a Nexus reunion? That was supposed to happen WrestleMania.
I know. I read it on the dirt sheets, D Young. Breaking, as first reported by Darren Young.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was telling the truth, and I remember seeing Wade right before the pandemic, and he said they asked him to come back, but the offer wasn't what he wanted, you know. And I was gonna talk to Arnold about it later. It's like you and I, we love the business, so if you're gonna give me $1,000 for an appearance for 6 or 7 appearances, if I would have signed up for this for the money, I would have complained a long time ago. Like we do it for the love, we do it for the love and passion for it. So yeah, he had said no to it, but hey, it is what it is.
Maybe one day. Never say never. It's been 10 years, baby. A decade.
Yeah, well, Heath says you always bust his balls, so I just crack up because I know how I know how you are with your words.
Well, because Heath's been he's been in the Nexus, he's been in the Core, he's been in the Social Outcast, he's been in Slater Gator, he's been in everything.
Yeah,
3MB.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's true. With all those championships in the back, when you coming back, are we gonna get an updated version of the Internet Championship by any chance?
You know what? I have one designed. I don't know if I'm ever gonna pull the trigger on it because people have asked if I'm gonna do another YouTube show. No, like that was that. Okay. Listen, it was great. It was like lightning in a bottle. I don't think it could be duplicated. But have I designed a new internet title? Yes, I have. Nice. Will it ever come out? I don't know. It was one of those things like, let me just get this just in case, Always ready, right? Always ready, baby.
There
you said it.
Always. Always. Ryder, before we take it home, I just want to hit you with 21 rapid fire questions. I've done it with Deanna, Heath, plethora of other superstars. So I just wanted to have some fun with you. So can we play?
Let's play, babe. I'm a little nervous, D Young, but let's go.
Oh no, don't worry. What's your favorite thing in your closet right now?
Favorite thing in my closet. I have well, does this count? One of my closets, I took the doors off and it's all my Star Wars figures. Does that count?
Sure.
It's like the sliding closet doors. I took them off. So it's just like all my Star Wars figures on display. That counts.
Wow. When things break, do you prefer to fix it or replace it?
Replace. I can't fix anything. I can't even hang up a painting.
No, I can't either, bro. We're all three of us are probably alike.
Yeah.
So true.
What job would you be absolutely horrible at?
Ooh. I would say something like public speaking, which is hard to believe, right? Because I'm like you, D. I'm very shy. But then once it sounds horrible, like once I walk through the curtain or like the lights on, I can go. Like I have no problem. I cut a promo in front of 20,000 people. No problem doing that, right? But if I went to like a party and I was in a room with like 5 people I don't know, oh my God, that's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The worst thing ever.
I agree. What's your favorite movie ever?
Ooh, I think it's Ghostbusters.
What's the most disturbing thing you've ever witnessed?
Ooh, I've seen Hornswoggle naked do a lot of weird things. let's go back to Ghostbusters for a second. Ghostbusters, the proton pack, right? That they bust ghosts with.
Yeah.
I have one of those. It's it's a replica. It's not real, obviously. It doesn't bust ghosts. But I had a party at my house a couple years ago, and Hornswoggle went upstairs, and I didn't know anything was going on. I found out the next day, so I witnessed it via pictures and videos that he got naked and did the Shawn Michaels pose with my internet title, right?
Oh, God,
and
yes.
he wore the Ghostbusters proton pack naked. So I witnessed that via pictures and videos, but that's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen.
If you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
Oh, go to prowrestlingtees.com/Matt
Oh my
Cardona.
Yes, yes. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, I got a couple, Young. I don't know if this is number one. This is definitely one of them. Picture this: you're at the gym, right? You're on like a bench, like doing like shoulder presses or something, right?
Okay.
And you're mid exercise. Let's say you're like rep 7, rep 8. Whether you're doing light, heavy, doesn't matter. You're focused. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, looking yourself dead in the eyes,
All right.
watching your form. Some idiot just walks right past you or right in front of you, picks up a dumbbell. Listen, bro,
Yes.
15 seconds or walk around. That might be my number one.
Yeah.
Little gym etiquette.
Yeah.
Might be my number one pet peeve.
Always, bro. I do the same thing. I never walk in front of people. Always
Never.
around.
Wait.
Never.
Walk around or wait. Just wait.
Fred got in a fight with an old lady the one time we went to the gym together. I'll never forget it. Remember that?
I believe it.
Yes. Okay. What makes you anxious?
Ooh, what makes me anxious? This is going to sound crazy, but if there's something like a collectible that I want on eBay and like it's something that someone else, you can tell like it's not just like a buy it now auction, like there's actual bids.
Yeah.
Like that final minute. Oh boy. Not even the final minute, like the final like 30 seconds. It's called sniping.
Yeah.
Sniping in the toy business. You wait until that last second and you have it on your phone or on your desktop and you have like the number typed in for your max bid, but you don't press enter until like 3 seconds left. You got to hope that your internet's fast enough to get it in. You got to hope that no one else puts something higher because this is your last chance. That makes me anxious.
That's funny. What's the stupidest thing you've ever done because someone dared you?
Ooh. I don't know if it was a dare, but I definitely thought I was trying to be cool, quote unquote cool in high school. And I drank during my lunch before the pep rally and like went into class and like I just like reeked of alcohol. I got caught. I got suspended from high school. And like I was not like a bad kid. I wasn't someone who would like drink in school. But of course I got caught. Oh, it's horrible. Like I got suspended. My parents had to pick me up. Horrible. That was bad idea. Bad idea.
Oh, that's a great story, bro. What's your favorite swear word?
Ooh, I like a good fucking. Like I think that fucking makes everything either whether it's like making something more like better, like that's fucking awesome, or I hate that fucking piece of shit. Like it can be like good or bad. It has so much meaning, that good old fucking.
What is one food that you would never give up?
Walmart steak.
Steak. Like a medium rare steak, baby. Medium rare steak. I love it.
If you could have 3 people over, dead or alive, for dinner, who would they be?
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm gonna not count Chelsea. She lives with me, so I know she'd be mad if I didn't include her. But babe, you live with me. We live together.
Yes.
So I always enjoy Miz, Morrison, and Ziggler. They're kind of like my crew. When we get together, it's always a great time because, like, similar to like the Adam Rose story, it's us just busting each other's balls all the time, all in good fun, and we have a lot of history together. We've been through a lot together, so I would say those 3.
Absolutely, and I've seen it in person, bro. The camaraderie between you guys.
Yeah.
What's the worst backhanded compliment you've ever been given?
Ooh. Oh man. Okay, this is a good one. So it's fresh in my memory. And so I just did a podcast. I've been doing, of course, like so many podcasts. And it's great. It's great. I'm glad you guys reached out. It's great to, you never know who's listening. You never know. If you can get one new fan, I say crumbs make crumb cake. You know what I'm saying? You get one here, you get one there. Crumbs make crumb cake, baby. So I was doing one with Conan and Disco Inferno a couple of weeks ago. And Disco Inferno, I think he was trying to compliment me. He said, "You're no Shawn Michaels, but you don't suck."
Oh my God.
I mean, he's right. He's right. He's right.
See, like those kind of compliments would kind of make me angry. If some,
I-
what was that?
I don't think he meant it maliciously. I think it just came out,
Sure.
He said, Shawn Michaels, and then like he didn't have another guy to say. That's how I took it.
Is your belly button inner or outer?
That's it. It's an innie. A little innie.
Who is your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, that's Kelly Kapowski, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Saved by the Bell.
Bro, I swear, hand to God, I always said Kelly Kapowski as a young kid, but it was really Mario Lopez.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I think you already answered this earlier. What was your first job?
My first job was I worked at a deli on Long Island. It was called Cow's Corner. Now it's a Starbucks, of course. But I loved that job because I got to – this is when I just started, like, working out. So you were allowed like one meal, but I'd always be slicing cold cuts, always sneaking stuff. They're not listening to the show. I'll say what I really did. I used to go into like the fridge and I would like chug the nest quick for the calories, and I'll just like throw it under the crates. No one would ever know.
What's something that you've tried that you'll never try again?
Okay, so I've tried a 450 splash once on the indies, right?
Ooh.
So I know I could physically like get the rotation, but I know I have no control of the landing, so out of the safety, out of being cautious, I made my opponent move that particular day, and I hit the mat so hard that I knocked myself out, like not out cold.
Man.
It's like when you get like a concussion, but you still wrestle the match, but you don't remember wrestling the match, and then you wake up, you're like, what's going on? It was one of those situations. It was like, so did the 450, the guy moved, I bumped. I must have like strained my pec or something like that. And when I came to, I didn't know what was going on. I was so delusional that I thought I was having like a heart attack.
Oh no.
I thought I was having a heart attack. They had to call, you'll love it. They had to call the ambulance, right? Like strap me into, the stretcher. My parents are at the show. It's in NYWC on Long Island. They come. My mom's all upset, and we had just won the tag team title. So I'm like, "Give me my belt! Give me my belt!" And I'm on the stretcher with like the tag team belt. Turns out, like I just knocked myself out and had a little strain in my pec. I wasn't having a heart attack.
That's scary.
And I told myself I would never do it again. And then years later, I did it against Cena on Raw. Same thing. He moved. I knocked myself out again.
Oh my God.
But like when he picked me up and gave me like the FU,
it
was like Mr. 450 FU. When he hit me with the FU, it like woke me up like instantly. But like if you watch the footage back, like John is obviously very muscular man, very strong. I'm like dead weight. He's not struggling to get me up, but you could tell there's a little, Yeah.
Wow. What's your favorite TV show?
I think my favorite TV show of all time is Friends. I love Friends. I love that show. I loved it as a kid. When I first moved to Orlando a couple years ago, that's when I got hurt. So it was like I got hurt right away. And I had nothing to do, so I just binge watched Friends from the very beginning, like all the seasons. And I'm like, I fell in love with the show again. So Friends, I think might be my number one.
Bro, with you saying that, I just have to show you this real quick.
Oh wow, look at that.
I got this for Christmas, the Friends Lego set, man.
That's so cool. That's badass.
Is there a personality trait you just can't stand?
Arrogance.
Yes.
I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I just hate arrogance.
Two more. Best gift ever received.
Ooh, I better say something that Chelsea gave me, right? Best gift ever received. That's interesting. I got to think about that. Let's see.
Bro, your
So,
dad's such a big supporter. Didn't he get you
right.
anything good?
Well, of course, that's the thing. Like, I'll never forget, like, so many Christmas mornings, always getting like these action figures. And this is like before the internet. Like, you didn't know all these figures that were coming out. So you'd wake up, you'd open this present, like, oh my God, it's Razor Ramon, or oh my God, it's Shawn Michaels or whatever. So I would definitely think like one of those Christmas mornings. I'll tell you what. I remember I got a trampoline. I got a trampoline for Christmas one year, and we like had backyard wrestled on it. Hey kids, don't try this at home. But then a couple years later, like, you know, New York, snowing, raining, it was getting all rusty, and like we'd been wrestling on it, so it was time to get a new one. So for Christmas that year, we got another trampoline, and like the goal, or not the goal, but the deal we made with my parents is that, okay, we can have them both set up until springtime when we like have to like replant the grass.
Yeah.
So for like 2 or 3 months, we had a double trampoline. It was like having war games. It was like WTW World Trampoline Wrestling War Games. So that's probably it, the double trampoline.
And last but not least, is your toilet paper over or under?
Ooh, honestly, you know what? It's probably like whatever. Usually when I need the toilet paper, it's like I have none on the roll, or no other thing. I have to go get some and put it on the quickest way possible. So I bet it's like 50-50. But I'm more of a wipe guy, a baby wipe guy.
Okay, that's a new one.
Same here, bro. Same here. And I just being on the road is just like, I don't know. It's just something that we wrestlers do, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, like I have like I don't want to get too graphic with you here, but I have some really weird habits when it comes to like going to the bathroom. Like I need to have my shirt off when I go to the bathroom. Like I need to.
Yeah,
like it just needs to be off.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a public restroom, that's why the hook is there. They want you to take your shirt off and just hang it on there. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, at the arenas, like I would go into the
Bro.
I would go up in the arena bathroom.
The best.
One to go to the bathroom, and two to put on my spray tan that no one ever knew that I put on.
I didn't know that.
Christian would always somehow find me. He's like, "Why are you tanning? You're already dark. You're already black." And that would just annoy me. Like, don't worry, because I have like farmer's tans. I want to make sure I'm even, and like the tanner you are, the leaner you look. So he would always catch me, and I would see red. I would be so angry. But of course, it's Christian, man.
I think people ask me like what I'm gonna miss about WWE. I think it is just drinking a bunch of coffee, like in the stands, like during the day, like BS with my friends, and then going up and taking a nice big shit.
Yes.
Nothing better, you know. No one's there. You know, you can walk around. It's awesome. Take a nice long shit. If you're in the locker room, there's like piss all over the toilet seat. You got a nice clean bowl. Just sit down. It's the best.
Yes. You know, I mean, again, thank you for being on Pro Bro Wrestling. I know Arnold wanted to talk about like his love for action figures before we take it home.
Go ahead.
Why don't you show him some of your treasures?
And I just want to thank you, man, for bringing the love of collecting back. Because like I mentioned before, I used to collect from like 7 to 24, and I kind of stopped for a while because I got into wrestling 2K video games. But as soon as you started your podcast, what I did was I went to my parents' house and I grabbed all my figures that I had. Right. I'm gonna show you real quick. They're all Lucy's, by the way. You're gonna be disappointed. So here you go.
Fred, you'll love this. So on our podcast, we say like if a figure is out of the box, we call it a Lucy, right? Yeah. So we had Heath on the show. We were talking about Lucy, and he goes, "Who's Lucy?"
Well, I don't know if you can see that. I got
all wow! Look at that. You got some Titantron figures. Oh, I can spot them over there. You got some Kane over there.
Yeah.
Looks like a Hardy Boy. Is that Goldust in a robe? I'm trying to spot it.
There's Goldust in the robe. Yeah, lost the wig.
Oh yeah, look at that. I can see it.
There's more in the shoe boxes right here, bro. These are all bone crunching because that's what I grew up on.
Oh, I see Tess over there. Balvinus.
Yeah.
Oh, the bone crunchers are my absolute favorite because.
Me too.
Oh yeah, because that was like when I was the most into the collecting because I had the LJNs or the Hasbros and I wrestle around with them, play with them, but it wasn't until like the Bone Crunchers, like the internet era, where like now I had a computer and I could keep record of my title histories and my
Right.
cards, and I could
Right.
download the entrance instead of like humming the song, I could download the
Yeah, that's right.
music. I
Yeah.
could download the music and have them do the entrance. And I was such like a loser that I would just like, I'd have my own figure federations, you know what I'm
Sure.
saying? And
Sure.
like if Royal Rumble was on Sunday night, like I would have mine Saturday night, like the night before, and that's just what I did. And I think the love of the action figures, the wrestling figures, really is a huge reason why I became a wrestler, because so many times during my lifespan, my friends fell out of wrestling. Like in elementary school, everyone loved the Hogan, Warrior, Macho King, Big Boss Man era, but
Yeah.
then no one was there for that in your house era. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Right. Right.
it was me still playing with the figures. Like that was like what kept me into it was just having these figure fans or playing and being creative. And then
Yeah.
Attitude Era, everyone came back. I call them the 98ers. They all came in for a little bit, but then they left again. So then it was me in high school, and I'm not afraid. I'll admit it now. I was still playing with the figures. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's how I, just kept the love alive. And but it was not cool. It was definitely a different time back then. Even when I was going to Toys R Us, even when I was in college, or even when I, worked for WWE, still buying them, I'd go and they'd be like, "You want a gift receipt?" Hell yeah, I want a gift receipt. This isn't for me.
Right.
This is for my little brother or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But just times have changed, and just which for the good. Where I
Sure.
think like everyone could just be them. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're trying to do with the Major Wrestling Favorite podcast, is like eliminate that stigma from like 40-year-old virgin, where that guy is this loser, this virgin who has all these
Right.
figures on display. Oh my God, you come into my house, I guess I'm the biggest virgin there is, because I got figures lined up. I got closets full of figures, and I'm not afraid about it. And I love that you said you listened to the podcast and you went to like your parents has found the ones you had as a kid, because that's how it starts. We say
Yeah.
scratching that figure itch, like everyone had one as a kid, and they're like, oh man. And I think when they listen to the podcast at first, like, why am I don't collect wrestling figures, why am I going to listen to this? But then, like, they hear this, we're talking about, let's say it's this Macho Man figure, insert 1993. Oh, man, you know what? Like, I didn't get that for Christmas in 1993. That's the one I wanted. But now you can go on eBay and get it. You can relive this memory. Or you know what? Maybe you did get it for Christmas, and that's the figure you cherish. And you can, like, relive that moment.
Yeah.
And then, oh, shit, like, maybe I should get the Mountie and Skinner and Warlord. And then it's an addiction.
Yeah.
For me, I take it a little to the extreme.
Yeah.
I definitely have a problem where it's like, okay, I finish a collection. I'm like, all right, well, what do I need now? People always ask, what are you looking for? It's like, I'm not really looking for anything. It's like, what can I convince myself that I need?
Yeah, it never ends.
Which it's fun though.
I was just as like passionate as you, because I would actually have my own figure federation too, and I would record it and everything with my friends. But I do have two figure questions for you. One, I don't know about you, but I used to customize my figures. I would go to Michael's and get acrylic paint. So I would turn like this Undertaker into a Jeff Hardy, because at that time they didn't have a Jeff Hardy yet for bone crunching. And like it worked for a little while. I dyed his hair and everything. But so I was curious if you ever customized your figures back then.
I used to all the time. I say I had a business, but in like middle school, I had a little customizing business. I would customize Hasbro's. I'd have like someone give me a couple of their figures, and then I would like concoct it into somebody else. So like the Warlord, I would like carve down the Warlord mask, and it would be like Austin. Austin was the big thing, and I usually put I think it was like a Roddy Piper shirt, and I would like paint the Austin 316. And like maybe like $1 Million Man pants, I turn into jeans. And like I have so many, like still to this day, I have so many scars on my fingers from like cutting myself with an X-Acto knife, trying to carve down, someone's mask or someone's hair. I would just stab myself all the time.
Yeah. My last question is, it still bothers me to this day. No one has given me an answer, but I don't know if you remember, there's the first bone crunching Shawn Michaels with the new head, where he doesn't have a mullet anymore. He has the full length hair, and his bottom is his Royal Rumble San Antonio, Texas tights with the chaps over it. Why are there two bolts in the back?
Okay, because that figure is in something called a KB backlash. And those figures were made like after that bone crunching era, a figure was over. So the original figure that is like trying to be like a re-release of it, something called Slammers, Shawn Michaels, and it had a little action on the back where you would like kind of with your thumb or your hand move it and his arms would go up and down. But then they had to like, that was too expensive for this. These were supposed to be like discount, not bootleg figures, but more discounted. If you notice, like all the bone crunching features are taken out. Like it looks the same, but if you go to bend and bone crunch the legs, it doesn't work.
Gotcha.
So same kind of deal. They took out the slamming action that he had.
Okay.
That's a very good figure. It's a KB Backlash.
Wow.
It's crazy. You just talk about it, Shawn Michaels in a gear, and I know what set it is. Like that's I have problems.
Wow. Thank you for that. 20 years later.
Oh, no problem. No, now you know.
Zach, Tommy Dreamer said, I've read something where he said you had spent $40,000 on a set or whatever. I said to myself, we work hard for our money. We beat our bodies up every night. We can spend it on whatever we want, whatever makes us happy. We can do it. So if you want to do that, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tommy, he keeps talking about the internet, filming all his YouTube videos. Listen, I love Tommy, and I think he's just busting my balls. But what he's talking about, it was this rhythm and blues, Greg the Hammer Valentine, with the black hair, the musical notes jacket. It was in this WWF magazine in this Toys R Us ad, and it just never came out. This is like 91, whatever. So like, it has like in the end, like the Bushwhackers, the Rockers, Demolition, and Rhythm and Blues, Greg and the Honky Tonk Man. But then you go to Toys R Us, and they have Bushwhackers, they have Demolition, they have the Rockers, but there's no Rhythm and Blues. And as a kid, you're like making your mom and dad like, or at least I was, Mom, take me to Toys R Us. I need to find Rhythm and Blues. Take me to Toys R Us. Turns out they never made it. But I was able to find the prototype from this employee who had all this like pre-production and prototype stuff. So yes, I did buy this large lot, crazy expensive, but I was able, this is what I tell Tommy, I was able to keep that Greg Valentine and other things that I want, and then I sold the rest and doubled my money. I know nothing about the stock market, but I am a toy businessman. I'm a toy businessman.
Oh, Zach, I mean, honestly, man, for us, like, for me, the podcast has never been about numbers or any of that stuff. Hi,
Sure.
baby, I'm filming the podcast.
Hey.
Yeah. The whole podcast for me, I met Arnold when I got released when I moved to LA. So he was like one of the second guys that said, hey, man, would you want to do a podcast? So I said, sure, why not? And from over a year of doing the podcast with some gaps in between, it's always been therapy for me, and it's very therapeutic for me to do a podcast. I've never cared about the numbers, but to be able to do it with my real life neighbor, who's a huge wrestling fan, means the world to me. So I want to thank you for like paving the way for other people to do podcasts and everyone else. You know what I mean? Both of you guys are very successful. Arnold's successful with his own YouTube lifestyle channel. You are, man. So like, I wouldn't have done this podcast if like all your success. Well, if Ryder can do it, then why not give it a shot? You know what I mean? So I want to thank you, bro, from like,
thanks, man.
Friend to friend. We've been grinding it out, and you're a veteran. Never call yourself former.
That's right. And you know what? Like, definitely, I wasn't the first person to have a podcast. No way. I wasn't even the first person to have like a YouTube channel. But I think like we're in this generation where we know how important this tool is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can use the internet or a podcast to talk about whatever you want. And like, we talk about wrestling figures, and are our numbers like the greatest thing ever? No, because it's a niche of a niche of a niche.
Sure,
you need to like wrestling, wrestling podcasts. Or first I have to listen to podcasts, then like wrestling podcasts, then like wrestling figure podcasts. But we do it because we love it. You know what I'm saying? And if we can just find that core audience that loves it with us, I said it before, crumbs make crumb cake. And if you're happy, that's all that matters. I don't think, I say this, that I don't think success is like, dollar signs equal success. Not to me. Happiness equals success. I'm a mark for happiness. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be happy. So it doesn't matter, how much. Of course, obviously we need money to live and to pay the bills, of course. But my main priority is making sure I'm happy, I'm healthy, my family's happy and healthy. That's all I care about. You know, like if you're just chasing dollar signs, you're just always going to want more. I'd rather chase happiness and want more happiness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. I agree, bro. And also congratulations. We've both had crazy relationships over our lifetime. But congratulations on your engagement, man. I'm very happy.
Oh, thank you very much.
As Stephanie McMahon's theme, I'm all grown up now.
And I want to thank you, man, and thank you for inspiring me to collect again, man. I'm a big kid just like you, and it's a pleasure to meet you for the second time through Zoom.
Hell yeah! Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun.
All right,
Yes,
have a good one, man.
time is money, bro. Take care. Thank you.
See you guys. Thanks.
Okay, that was such a great interview with Matt Cardona, man. Always ready. It was really, really cool to have him as a guest because, like I told him, he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I listen to his podcast all the time. So it was really cool, man. And for the first time ever, we talked wrestling figures with one of our guests, which was awesome.
Yeah, it's a milestone for us both because, 52 weeks in a year. We've got an episode for every week filled in. And we've been doing it a little bit longer. We've had some gaps in between.
Yeah.
It was a milestone for us. And I didn't tell you till the last minute.
I hated it.
Yeah, it is what it is because I was so excited because I knew he was your favorite. So I wanted to leave some, if I'm using the word right, suspense.
Yeah.
Suspense behind it. But next week, I'm excited. I don't know if I told you. Have I told you about our guest next week?
Oh, man.
I think our guest next week is going to be Mike Tarver from
Nexus, nice.
He's one of my favorite guys, and I don't think we hear a lot of him. So with our little platform and stuff like that, and of course with Zach, we'll definitely break 1,000 on Instagram, which is a milestone for me, for us, bro. So I'm sure after we get Zach's episode out, we'll hit 1,000 and over 1,000 true Pro Wrestling followers. But I'm excited about next week with Tarver because he's got a lot to say. I've already cleared it with him. If he was down to do it, he can sing, he can dance, he powerlifts.
Wow.
So he's something that he's going to have. It's going to be an interesting one because he's going to let us have it about what he really thinks of maybe Cena or what he really thinks of his experience. You know what I mean? He's one guy. Yeah, he's one guy I truly, truly adored working with. Great wrestler, great on the mic. I will definitely bring up the story of us in promo class with Vince McMahon saying that his promo was incredible in promo class in front of Vince McMahon. I think Vince McMahon might have said, now that's a promo.
Wow.
So again, we'll have to relive that story with Michael Tarver again, but he's one of the best. But, Zach Ryder, all the podcasts we've done, the 52, this one, I was the most nervous because he's really so good at what he does. See, us and Chris Van Vliet, I'm a pro, you know what I mean? I'm a pro wrestler,
Hence the title Pro and Bro, right?
Exactly. I'm the pro. So, but I was still sitting under the learning tree with Chris Van Vliet and learning about his success. But with Zach, he's been so successful outside of the ring, even inside of the ring, he didn't have to knock on Vince McMahon's door, he gained success on his own. He did it all by himself, man. And that's something that I admire, I look up to. I check my ego at the door, man. I want to let you know that you've helped me some way, somehow, and have you share your story on our podcast, man. So to have Zach take time out of his day to be on our podcast meant the world to me. So, Michael Tarver will be next. I'm looking to hit up Chavo, man. So we're going to be making moves.
Chavo.
Arnold, you better shut your mouth.
This was a great episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you're listening to us on iTunes, make sure you guys give us a 5-star review if you like what you hear and let us know what we can do better. And if you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a comment and subscribe. And that's all I got.
Some episode. Love you, bro. Block the hate. Salute the great.